So I'm really excited. Annie McMurtrey, who is the director of the University Writing Center, is going to talk to us about scholarship essay writing tips. And just so you know, like scholarships are going to open up very soon. So this is super timely and all the cool resources with the Writing Center. And one thing I like to tell people is don't think of things as free. Think of things as part of your tuition. And so that if that helps you utilize those resources more, think about like I'm paying for this. So I always try to tell students, get your money's worth. So yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Does the writing center help in writing like the scholarship essays?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
So we want to make sure people know resources like that. So Annie is fantastic. She's one of our favorite presenters, and we'll let her take it away.
You say that to all the presenters. All right. Well, hi, everyone. Thanks very much for that introduction. Again, my name is Annie, and I'm just a couple buildings over in the Marriott Library on the second floor. So if you come up the stairs from the bookstore, from the campus store, that side, that west entrance, if you go up the stairs directly in front of you, we're the first door on the right. We live in kind of this fishbowl, and we see people walking back and forth, often scared to come in, and then they leave, and then they walk by again, and then we see them coming up to the door, and we're like, come on, you can do it. Come in and see us. So my office / cubicle is in the Writing Center. And the Writing Center serves approximately 6,000 to 7,000 students, or at least we have 6,000 or 7,000 contacts per year for the University of Utah. So it's a little space, but we serve a lot of students. And I know I'm super biased, but I just think that we do some pretty tremendous work, and people who come in to the Writing Center often need support and might be a little bit down. And then in the 30 or 60 minutes that after we spend that amount of time with them, they leave with a plan or a more positive outlook. So I sleep really well at night. It's just a really cool job, good position. So I'm here today to talk to you about the Writing Center services, the things that we can provide to you as we're headed into scholarship season and eventually into finals week. But I'd also like to spend about half of my time talking to you about the different things I've noticed over the years in the last 20 or so years that I've worked in writing centers that I've noticed in good scholarship essays and not so great scholarship essays. I am not from the Career Services Center, which they call it something else now. Career Success. So that isn't where my specialty is. I just want to put that out there. But I've seen hundreds, at least hundreds, of scholarship essays in my time over the last 20 years in writing centers. So Paul said that I had something to offer, and I hope you find that that's the case as well. Scholarship essay. I'm going to start with the bottom part. There are two types of scholarship essays that you should be made aware of. There are merit-based scholarships that the recipients get the scholarship based on their abilities, what they've accomplished, how they've performed on things. That's stuff like your grades, different honor societies that you're in, the stuff that you've done. And then the other type of scholarship that we know about are called need-based scholarships. And those are offered to folks based on their financial situations. Sometimes scholarships combine the two. They say, tell us why you're a good fit. What have you done that makes you a great candidate? And also tell us why you need this scholarship so that you can succeed at the University of Utah. So there are two different types. Sometimes they're combined. But a scholarships essay, the purpose is to show who you are in relation to the organization offering the scholarship, to demonstrate that you're a good fit for the scholarship, and to show a genuine need for the scholarship. I really like that second one actually to demonstrate that you're a good fit, and we'll get into what that means. But there are often many students who are applying for the same scholarship. And so the idea, of course, is to say, well, you specifically are a better fit than the other folks who are applying for the scholarship. How do you stand out? Okay. So things that you should include. And I'm going to have little side stories associated with how I came up with this list. So one of the things you should include is the actual answer to the prompt. Now, that might sound super obvious to most of us. However, some people try to use the same scholarship essay for many scholarships that they're applying to. So they just send it out en masse, right? And I warn people against that. Not that you have to reinvent the wheel or that you have to start from scratch when you are writing a scholarship essay, if you have something kind of within that vein that you've written before. However, you want to make sure that the actual thing that you're asked to write, you actually do the things that they asked. And in fact, just today or yesterday, I heard the story today from a writing center tutor. The clients who came in with their scholarship essay launched into this devastating story. All the terrible things that have happened to them over the last year. Now they are experiencing homelessness. They don't know where to go for their next meal. Their spouse or significant other broke up with them. X, Y, and Z. And it is, oh man, by the end, they needed the scholarship, but they didn't do what they were supposed to do. They were asked to write about like their passion for chemistry or whatever the prompt was. And so that's pretty devastating first of all, that the tutor had to say, oh, I'm so sorry that happened. And I don't want to like delegitimize any of the things you just told me. And thank you for trusting me, but you got to write a different essay, right? Like you didn't answer the prompt. Is there a way that you can incorporate some of this need-based stuff into the prompt that you were actually asked to respond to? Also, you should have a genuine passion and enthusiasm for your topic. And I know that is also difficult to do sometimes. I had to write a scholarship application about my my passion for my business major. Once I realized I wasn't taking any business classes, I had to stop being a business major. So it was really hard to describe my passion for HR when I knew I was going to teach English. So that one's kind of a hard one. But if you can dig deep and find how you are connected to the topic, the thing that you want to write about, that comes through in the writing. Relevant accomplishment and their impact on you, your organization, and the world. I say keep the institution's requirements and expectations in mind and find instances from your goals, strengths, and stories that embody those values. Okay, so what I'm saying there is in those scholarships where you're talking about your merits, right? All the things that you've done and you've accomplished. So it's not just a list of like a brag sheet or just the same thing that your resume says. Instead, usually in these scholarship essays, there's a chance for you to talk about the impact that experience or that course or that project had on you. And not just on you, but then how did it impact the group that you were working with? Or maybe the world at large? How did it shift your insights into your field? Or about your family, or about yourself, or your capabilities, right? So you're talking about the significance portion, and the way that you talk about that event or accomplishment often matters more than the accomplishment itself. You might be trying to get a scholarship the same as this other person whose actual CV might look stronger, but the way that you talk about your accomplishments, that's more impressive, right? So you still have a chance. I said, who else is competing for the scholarship? What might set you apart from them? So sometimes you'll be applying for a scholarship within your major. And all the people who are sitting next to you in classes, they're also applying for that scholarship. They've kind of taken the same classes that you have. They've done the same projects that you have. So what sets you apart from those other classmates who are also applying for that? And again, I think that goes up to the significance, the impact, right? So all of us did this project, but what impact did it have on you or something else outside of you that might be different from all those other people in the class? Okay, but include grit. I love that word. So we'll get into this, especially in need-based scholarships. But here's an example of something more or less of something that I wrote in my own scholarship essays. I wrote, I will complete my degree program and become a professor. But receiving this scholarship will ensure that I graduate in 4 years and begin my career sooner. So in need-based scholarships, you're not saying like, if I don't get your scholarship, I'm going to have to drop out of school. And then I'm going to have to do this. And then I'm going to have to do this. It's no. Like, let's not go there, right? That's saying, if you don't do this thing for me, it's like almost a threat, right? And it's almost like, I just have nothing within myself that'll get me through this. You need to do it for me. We don't want that message, right? So instead, it's, I will complete my program, but with your scholarship, I'm going to be able to focus more on my studies. I might be able to do better in my classes. I'll graduate in 4 years and I can enter the job force sooner so that I can do this, and this goal, right? So that I can be a productive member of society, right? So I will complete my degree program, but this scholarship will ensure that I will do it in a timely manner. Does that make sense? Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
In the general application part, like in the general application, if you go to the academic works, then we need to write a general application where it's like an essay of 500 words where you need to like say everything, like here, like merit based and like a proper essay. I think like which one, like the process is good. Like after like telling about a bit of myself, then my interest, then what I need. Is it the proper way to write a scholarship essay? Or the general ones?
You know what? You're going to hate this answer. I don't know. So I don't know what in that general box where you only have 2 pages double spaced, what kinds of information you should or shouldn't include in there. Is it about your merit or your need, Paul? Do you know?
So
I think both.
I think it is both.
Yeah.
I can tell you a little bit about what I know and feel free to correct
Yes,
me.
please.
Crimson Transfer Honor Study, which is the student group I started for the club, we have our own scholarships, and it is through academic works. And so there is a general one, like that you said exactly. It goes to everyone, and then we have a separate essay that's about like your experience as a transfer student. And so we often will look at both, or like the one that's specific to our scholarship will have more weight. And so I don't know how every scholarship committee, but at least when we review it, our academic works, we have a second essay that's really like specific to our scholarship. That's like,
In the like the general application part,
yeah,
it is like most likely to say the both. So which one I should like in my essay write first, like in my what's my interest is, or like in the last I should write my need, like financially. Is it a
So I hate being the authority on this because I genuinely don't know. If I were doing it and if I didn't have any guidance through the specific office, right? Then I would do a combination of the two where I talked about my interests, the merits, why I'm deserving, and then have something about that ends with
Does the
I do
writing
have
system
need.
help like with these things?
100%. Yes.
and then I think Annie mentioned a really good point that every scholarship has a contact person. And so I would definitely recommend talking to the contact
Absolutely.
person. That could give you more insight in like what they're looking for, and it's not cheating to reach out to that person.
No. And in fact, like it's not cheating, but it's not a bad idea that someone within that organization knows your name. So write a really nice email with no punctuation problems, Yeah,
Because
like a
on the
writing
last time,
sample.
like, on the last, I think there are also few scholarship on the spring, on the next spring semester. So that's why like I went to the writing center,
Okay.
but I actually don't know if they actually help with the essay.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't say anything about the essay part,
Oh, shoot.
but then like he talks about the normal stuff.
Okay.
So I think they might.
Yeah, I recommend you do. All right. Good questions. Okay, so I've already talked about this probably too much, but I'm gonna keep going because I have a slide. All right, so the showing financial need and grit. Okay, so I said to communicate your financial needs without sounding like a huge bummer. And what's great is I brought this to the writing center and two tutors said, "Who's your audience? This doesn't sound very formal." Like, yep, but I'm the director and I'm gonna put bummer in my slide. So to communicate those needs without sounding like a bummer, clearly state your financial situation without going into excessive detail. So because due to my family's limited income, funding my education is a significant challenge. Right? So you are still talking about your need and why, and then it's a challenge, but it doesn't say that you can't overcome that challenge. Connect your financial needs to your academic and career aspirations. Again, despite those challenges, significant challenges, by financial constraints, I am determined to pursue a degree in X and to contribute to whatever your specific goals are. You can mention steps that you're taking to address your financial situation. You can talk about you're already working a part-time job. You're already getting really good internship experience so that you can go to graduate school or whatever. Other things that you're working on, applying for other scholarships, ways that you're saving money. Those things are all okay to talk about when you're talking about your financial situation. And the next slide, I think I say, but be careful, don't include a spreadsheet of all of your finances. The more information you give in that regard, the more they can pick it apart and go, oh, you're spending $130 on Netflix a year. You're doing this, you're doing this. Good thing my mom's not on this scholarship committee. This is what my mom. You spend how much on your cell phone and HBO or Disney Plus or whatever, right? So we don't want to get into those nitty gritties of this is how much I spend. You can, however, say that you have very limited discretionary income or something like that. Yeah. Okay. So I also say that if there's an opportunity to kind of finesse some gratitude for the opportunity of applying, even if it's not in a letter format. In a letter format, you could say like, thank you for considering me for this scholarship. It will make a meaningful difference in my time at the University of Utah. If it's a letter, that's really easy to do. In just an essay, though, I think there are still some kind of clever ways that you can fit that in. Express appreciation for the opportunity and the committee's consideration. Reinforce that their support will make a meaningful difference to you. So saying that you're glad that this opportunity exists and you're very hopeful and wow, it would make such a big difference to you. And, depends on the scholarship, I suppose. Focus on your aspirations and resilience rather than dwelling on difficulties. Keep the tone hopeful and forward looking. You don't have to paint your world as perfect and this is just extra money. Woohoo! But again, I've just seen too many scholarship essays in the Writing Center that just go into these like all that's wrong in the world, all that, the ways my roommate stole money from me, then my dog got sick and I had to take them to the vet, and then that used up this money that I was going to use towards my tuition, and now I can't afford to go to school. Like, too much, too much, right? Not only can people then start judging you for those decisions of how you spent your money, but it also, I don't think, shows that resiliency that I've been repeating ad nauseum, sorry. Okay, so the format of these scholarship essays, in general, right? Yeah, oh, sorry, go ahead.
So, um,
how detailed do you suggest that? Like, should we like list out the numbers or should we like get brief and?
If it doesn't ask for specific numbers, I wouldn't give specific numbers, right? Of how much you're paying on housing and cell phones and tuition and all that, right? But you could say, due to the increased costs, or the 3% increase for undergraduate tuition and the difficult housing market or renters market in Salt Lake City, it's true that I'm experiencing some serious financial hardship right now. This $1,500 scholarship would allow me to do this and this and quit my part-time job so that I can study more in my major. Right? So that wording wasn't perfect, but you see what I mean? That you can still draw on where the difficulties are coming from due to these unexpected medical bills, the housing market, and this. I am experiencing hardship. Yes, you are. You can say that, right? But then this money will allow me to do this, this, and this. That's better, I think, than breaking it down by numbers. Do you have a specific, like you're wondering in your situation, like, do you want to bring up anything about what you can or shouldn't bring up? Or I don't want to put you on the spot, but you gave a face that I'm like, he has a specific something in mind.
Well, I'm just really brainstorming like how should I find answers?
Okay.
Like it's a lot of but because I've been watching a lot of like videos on like scholarships and college education. So yeah,
Well, tell me what they said. I'm interested.
don't get too exaggerated and sometimes don't get too detailed in something that is not necessary.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Don't exaggerate if your hardship isn't that bad, don't make it out to be worse than it is. Or for sure, don't lie. Don't, don't make up stuff that happened to a friend of yours and claim it as your own. I mean, be ethical. But I think that, that again, pointing to the things that happened or the context for why you're in need of the scholarship, I think that is absolutely appropriate, including all of your numbered amounts and budgets and just explaining how sad life is right now may not be the best approach. Does that sound fair, Paul? Okay. All right, so the format of these things can take many different forms. We've seen lots of different ways that scholarship committees have asked for the content to be presented to them. Sometimes in just short essays, like write a paragraph on this, on your need, write a paragraph on how you are going to further this cause that matters to our organization. Tell us about your commitments to this field, right? And so it has different sections, and then you would break it up and of course just answer the prompt, right? However, if it's just like write a scholarship essay on why you're deserving of this scholarship. Okay, that's broad. Here's an idea about how you might format that. Usually I'm going to say 4 paragraphs. You're going to find websites that'll say they're a little longer, little shorter, whatever. But in general, I'd say they're approximately 4 paragraphs in length. So, in your introduction, I have 3 ideas about what you might want to say. You might start with a brief description of your background or situation that highlights the challenges you faced and how they've shaped you. And or introduce your goals or dreams right away. This can demonstrate your ambition and give a reader a sense of direction. And I said, or start with a personal anecdote. We see a ton of those in the Writing Center. Begin with a brief story from your life that relates to your goals or values, that shows who you are. This can draw in the reader and provide a personal touch. Absolutely. Just make sure that it's a relevant story. Not just any story will do. And that's going to take some brainstorming. Talk to a roommate, talk to a family member, talk to a writing center tutor. You might have 3 or 4 different stories that you're kind of playing with in your mind. Oh, maybe I should tell them this. Maybe I should do this. I'd say before you start really polishing an essay, really kind of play those out a little bit about what details to include, which things to leave out. 2-ish body paragraphs where you talk about, your accomplishments and stuff. And then the conclusion, again, find some way to express gratitude for the opportunity inherent in the scholarship and leave the reader with a strong impression of your commitment and determination to succeed. Don't include quotes or accomplishments of others. Okay, this is, again, I've been in this job for a while. When I asked Google, or maybe I asked ChatGPT, I asked someone, hey, how should I start a scholarship essay? Just to see what it said. And it's like, choose a quote that is meaningful to you. Think of an important historical figure and why they're inspirational and talk about that, And okay, so I'm going to just say that I know more than the internet. Quote me on that. So, I don't think it's a great idea generally to start with quotes or accomplishments of other people. This is about you. So the best example of this is I read this essay last year, year before, where this person wanted to be, again, a healthcare professional. Their mom or dad, mom, I think, was in healthcare. And they really went into all of these amazing details about what their mother did. All the cases that she worked on, all of the patients that she saved, all of the education. And then by the end, again, it said, and I want to be like mom. Yeah, I'd hire your mom too, right? I'd give your mom the scholarship. Your mom is awesome, right? But I don't know anything about you, right? From this essay. So, and again, with quotes, maybe if the quote is taken directly from maybe a leader within the field or from that organization to which you're applying for that scholarship, that might be worthwhile to pursue. But generally speaking, I think that you should keep the focus on you. Again, specific budget information, I wouldn't go into tremendous detail about that unless they specifically ask for it. You can mention fixed and discretionary spending if you want. All right, don't include a sob story that only tells the committee that you have no money or down on your luck. While you do need to establish a context of need, you will want to also approach your narrative with an attitude of resilience and growth. I've talked about that already. And overly personal or sensitive information. Personal stories can be powerful. I'm not telling you not to do that. In fact, I said that a strong anecdote with a personal story can be amazing, but make sure your details serve a purpose. Okay, and then remember too, okay, the Writing Center, we have this hierarchy of values. That's what we call it in Writing Center talk, where we talk about what makes good writing. And good writing, we think, meets the assignment needs. It answers the prompt. It does the thing you're asked to do. It's also focused, right? It has a thesis or a main idea that's consistent throughout the paper. It makes a claim that you can back up with evidence, whatever constitutes evidence in your field, that it's well supported with research, either primary or secondary research, that your writing is organized and it flows, it has a clear beginning, middle, and end, that there's transitions that get us from point A to point B to point C, right? That it does all of these things, and that it's proofread. Okay, that it's correct on a sentence level. Okay, so it kind of pains me to say, remember to proofread for these scholarship essays, because it makes me look, I think, even as a Writing Center representative, that that's the most important thing when it's not, but it does matter. Especially you don't know who is reading the scholarship application, what that room consists of, and it could consist of a bunch of folks whose idea of good writing and Worthy applicant is someone who doesn't have any comma splices or run-ons, who knows the difference between then and than and effect and affect. Okay, I think that society as a whole has kind of moved forward from that a little bit, especially with social media and that with we're more forgiving with some things sentence level. But gosh, with something like a scholarship essay where potentially thousands of dollars are riding on it, make sure it's the best it can possibly be before you submit it. And that includes just fine-tooth comb, make sure that those apostrophes are in the right place, that the commas are in the right place, etc. Right? So I say proofread, 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 not just you, but I would say have someone else look at it too. And when in doubt, find someone to break the tie. Hey, I have an idea, writing center tutor. Okay, so come to the writing center. You can make an appointment at writingcenter.utah.edu. There are also experts at U Career Services who help with these types of documents. So that's careers.utah.edu. And I say, gosh, don't just apply for one scholarship, apply to them all that you are can apply to that because there was this, so it's kind of a silly story, but I want to say it was Big O Tires. I can't remember. Big O, maybe Discount Tires. I got an email a few years ago that said, hi, no one has applied for our scholarship. Can you just send this out to campus? Like just to campus, to all 10, how many, 40,000 people? Yeah, 30,000 students, in case any of them want to apply to my scholarship. That they just had, I don't remember, $1,000, $2,000 lying around from somebody who was donating scholarship money, and not a single person applied for that. So if there was one applicant, they would get it. It's awesome. Right? So find those scholarships out there and apply to increase your chances. Okay, so I'm going to go through this kind of quickly, but the University Writing Center is here to help all students at the U. We can help you with coursework papers. So any coursework that you're working on, that means writing 1010, 2010 papers. That means your honors thesis. That means lab reports. That means anything that you are working on. So lab proposals, UROP proposals, research of any kind, all of your application materials, resumes, cover letters, scholarship essays, even little discussion posts for Canvas that everyone in the class is going to see. So you want to make sure that you feel proud of it before you put it out there for the world. Or any creative writing pieces that you are working on at home, maybe separate from your coursework. That's fine. We are interested readers and we want to help you. Okay, so free, and again, so not free. You've paid for the sandwich. You might as well eat it, right? You've already paid for this service. So come on in and see us in the Writing Center. We'd love to talk to you. And not to like toot our own horns or whatever, but this year, our tutors have gotten near 100% satisfaction rating. It's usually in the like 95-ish%. Somebody's upset about something generally, but this year I just sent out midterm reports for my tutors. They're out of this world. So just really good tutors this year. I always think my tutors are great, but this year everyone else thinks they're pretty terrific too. Topics of support, we can help you with just the development of your ideas. You don't need a single thing written for you to come into the Writing Center. You can bring in a prompt, bring in an idea, and just chat back and forth with the tutor. It can take 2 minutes, it can take 30 minutes. It doesn't matter. That time is yours, and you can use it how you see fit. We can help you with organization. We can help you with thesis statements. We can help you with whatever it is that you are working on at any stage of the writing process. And we have lots of different ways you can make appointments. You can have live in-person appointments. That's again in the Marriott Library, room 2701. 2701. And you can just walk in and then they'll make an appointment right there for you at that time. Or you can have a Zoom appointment if you would prefer not to come onto campus, or if you are taking classes off campus. That's just fine. Not much good came out of COVID, if you ask me, but one good thing is that we learned how to use Zoom and we do it well. So we didn't even offer Zoom tutorials pre 2020. So now that is actually at least half of our tutorials are done over Zoom these days. So you share a screen and you go over that piece together as you talk online. You upload your draft, or you can just share your screen, either one. And then we also have something called e-tutoring. E-tutoring is a form of writing support that you can do asynchronously. So what that means is instead of talking to a tutor in person or over Zoom, you submit your paper out for a tutor to look at. They will take it out of the queue, read it, give you feedback, both in marginalia, in those embedded comments off to the side, as well as a letter that tells you the strengths and growth areas in your paper and some ideas for revision. And you'll get that response within about 48 hours. I'm going to put my own little asterisk next to this. I like e-tutoring. I actually brought it to the U about 8-ish years ago. I do like it. I want to keep it around. It's valuable, especially in addition to the Writing Center. But my little asterisk comes from the fact that I don't train all of these tutors. These tutors come from across the country. It's like a subscription service that the university has where we say, hey, we want to have an asynchronous service that doesn't exist elsewhere on campus. And so you can get asynchronous help there. You can also get help with chemistry, statistics, Spanish, calculus, about 15 other subjects, and you can take a look at those services here at writingcenter.utah.edu, and then there's a link to e-tutoring. All right, so I talked a lot, I realize that. Do you guys have any questions or concerns for me about either the Writing Center and its services, or any points about the scholarship part of my presentation? Yeah.
What if the major, sorry, is not well known, or like no one really cares about it?
Is it, I'm sorry, one more time.
What if your major is like
Oh.
not well known, or just people don't really care about it?
Like, how do you make that something that's impressive to scholarship committees outside of your major? Is that the question?
Yeah, like how do you make it feel appealing?
Well, why does it appeal to you? Again, I'm not meaning to put you on the spot, but I think that if you chose that as your major, you have some kind of reason and passion for it. And I would say as long as that passion and commitment and significance makes its way onto the page, then I think you're okay. I think you're golden, especially if you can find some significance of how that connects to whatever their particular organization is, whatever their mission, whatever their goal is. If you can find little strands to tie your experience in your major to it, I think that you're still a very strong candidate. Yeah. Any advice on writing for, oh, a hook? Oh, like, because I just said, don't use a quote. Don't. I'm thinking about my own essays, and I mean, hooks are hard.
Sometimes I'm like, if you tell me something that sounds like a verse, at the beginning of a fairy tale or something, which just sounds like.
Yeah, no, I think that when you're setting up an anecdote, like it was a dark and stormy night, like that could go either way, where someone could kind of chuckle, right? Like it's setting up this, it's like playing with genre a little bit, right? Like it's not a scary story, but you're starting your scholarship essay that way. It could be very fun. Gosh, there are just so many ways that are effective hooks. I don't want to. I think that maybe some good advice is to try multiple hooks and then see from your readers which ones actually work. I found in my own introductions that I have gotten rid of my first and second sentences often over the years, because I thought that they were good, and then they ended up being more like throat clearing. sentences, right? Like my favorite one from my undergraduate, this is actually what I wrote. There has been conflict since the beginning of time. Nice. Right? Like I was taught to start broad and then narrow it down. I was talking about, I don't know, the treatment of women in the Civil War. There has been conflict since the beginning of time. Yes, there has. Can't refute that. But it probably wasn't the best intro for what my topic was, right? And so it's like, let's get rid of that throat clearing. And my essay actually started on like the third-ish sentence. Right. So I know that I'm kind of going around your question and I'm not meaning to, but there's just so many different ways you can do an effective hook. I don't have a great answer for you. Sorry. But we'd love to read all 3 or 4 of your attempted hooks and tell you which one we think is strongest. Sure. All right. Do you have any questions? Again, my name is Annie McMurtrey. On the website, I'm Ann McMurtrey. That's actually my name. If you want to get a hold of us through email, it's writingcenter@utah.edu if you come up with any questions. But that is not how you schedule an appointment. You'll want to go to our website and there's a big button that says schedule an appointment now. Or give our receptionist a call at 801-587-9122. And a receptionist would be more than happy to get you set up with a Zoom or in-person appointment. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so
Appreciate you. Thank you.